Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to have this chance to present my recent work to you, especially in English. And my topic is contrast to two different youth moments in Inner Mongolia, 1945 to 1947. And the paper was inspired by Urukte Taewong, a professor of Inner Mongolia University, who told us about the young Mongolian political moment. And I want to make a rough contrast between two youth moments in order to find out the process of young Mongolian national moment and try to discuss the differences and similarity of two youth moments in Inner Mongolia on their guidance form and activities after 1945. The materials mainly used are memorials, and I know so far my research had so many things needed to be digging deeper in details. So let me begin with the background of this period of time. So at the first half of the 20th century, Inner Mongolia became the place that China, Japan, and Russia roughly competed with each other for making it first territory, letting Inner Mongolia face a tough situation on reaching their national autonomy. And on the one hand, for Inner Mongolia, this period of time was a good opportunity to reach the autonomy by negotiating around with China, Japan, and Soviet Union. But for Japan, Inner Mongolia was an important geographic location for defending north side of China from Soviet and avoiding Soviet from connecting with Chinese communists. On the other hand, Chinese Communist Party saw Inner Mongolia as a passage to three provinces in northeast of China. So after Japan surrendered in 1945, young Mongolian took the responsibility of reaching self-rule and independence, and the youth movement rise. Japan surrendered on August 15, 1945, and which brought to the end to World War II, and also left Inner Mongolia in a power vacuum. For Mongolia in Inner Mongolia, it was either a great opportunity to reach the independence and self-rule, and a risky moment which might lose all of their political and economic rights as being the owners of their territory from history. So then young Mongolian nationalists became active. Most of the Mongolian elites were aware of coming failure of Japan. At the same time, they started planning their anti-Japanese activities, waiting for a chance to fight against Japan. And young Mongolian organized political parties. Youth movement was led by two main political organizations located in different places. One is Inner Mongolian Youth League, which was active in Eastern Mongolia, and like Khingan League. And the other one is Mongolian Youth Revolutionary Party, which was active in central Inner Mongolia, like Shilingol or Olanchab. So in Sumut, Mongolian intellectuals and officers like Dulgurchok Gamjab and Nasenchok, who once worked for Mongolian frontier government, which is known as the Dugdagmas government, had decided to form a political party underground in August 1944. They called on the Mongolian intellectuals and the young people to fight against Japan and find new ways to make self-rule and liberty come true. At almost the same time, young Mongolian intellectuals and officers like Borjigen Orchilang in Eastern Mongolia, at that time under the rule of puppet Manchukuo system, and had also lost faith in Japanese rule after Ningsheng affair happened, and with the war gone badly. For Japan, they too turned to the same struggle for reaching their aim. And Mongolian Youth Revolutionary Party, MYRP for short, was established underground by some Mongolian elites in summer of 1945 in Zhangjiakou. Most of these young elites had been working for Dengchik Dongrup's government at that time, and they were also sent to Japan for studying. And on August 4th, 1944, Dulgurchocht Gomjau and Nasenchocht have the first meeting of Mongolian Youth Revolutionary Party underground at Idemjab's house in Kalagan. At this meeting, they decided to establish Young Mongolian Youth Revolutionary Party and recruit members underground for strengthening their power. And their target is in external, united with every revolutionary powers in the world and fight against Japanese fascists, and internal, build a democratic government and fight against feudalism and usury exploitation. For reaching the target, MYRP should seek helps of Soviet and People's Republic of Mongolia. And their guiding principles is 3 main ideas or 10 main party platform, like 3 for self-determination of Mongols, like having the right to decide the Mongolian own fate, keep Mongolian own territory, and inherit Mongolian tradition. B, it's 4 for social equality, like getting rid of fears of our people and give them freedom. And the most interesting is the C, the 3 for world peace, like advocating people from every countries, caring for each other, advocating unity of all ethnic groups, advocating mutual help between countries. And so as we can see through MRP guiding principle, there are many capitalism features like liberty and democracy in their creed rather than communism, which might be caused by the Dulgurchokt's failure of establishing Mongolian Youth United Party in 1938 to 1941. At the time of Japan running Mongolia frontier government, the Dulgurchokt, realizing that the Mongolian language and culture would be disappeared if Japan kept their cultural invasion, had tried to establish a party called Mongolian Youth United Party to protect Mongolia from being fully colonized by Japan. But as Japan suspected that the Dulgurchokt was in touch with the spy in Outer Mongolian and propagating communism to young Mongolian, his activities had been stopped, and his trial of establishing a youth party was failed. After that, the Dulgurchokt himself was also strictly monitored by Japan's system. And Inner Mongolian Youth League. In the eastern part of Inner Mongolia, a similar thing was happening, and on the eve of Japanese surrender of 1945, Mongolian elites like Hafunga and Askhan, who had already accepted Marxism, made young Eastern Mongolian so impressed. There are small scales of underground student organization active in some secondary school. When Hafunga was in his tenure in Changchun, he often had conversation with young Mongolian students about the national revolution. After Soviet declaration of war to Japan, Hafunga and Tomerbagan recovered the activities of Inner Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party and set up its eastern branch. On 18 August 1945, they made an announcement called Declaration of Inner Mongolian Liberation, which inspired the young Mongolian from all banners of from Harbin, Changchun, and Shenyang, assembling with the student in former Manchurian Hengan School and Yucheng School, and also with the uprising troops of Hengan Military Academic in Wanginsum. Less than 1 month, there were almost 1,000 of young Mongolian gathering in Wanginsum. Besides, Hafenga and Tumurbagan had freed a lot of young Mongolian students and officers in prison in Wanginsum, Tichikar, and Shenyang after they had negotiated with Soviet army. So the foundation of IMYL, it's on 5th October 1945, the founding meeting of Inner Mongolia People's Revolutionary Youth League held in Jiajiadian at Wangisum, and about 300 members attended at this meeting. It as well came at an executive committee with 15 members at this meeting, and Tumurbagan was chosen to be the Secretary General of this committee. This is Tumurbagan, Secretary General of Inner Mongolia Youth League. It's a commander of East Mongolian Autonomous Army. This is the flag of IMYL. The basic color is red, and the knot is yellow. But there was a divergence appeared to belonging problem between IMYL and the Inner Mongolian People's Revolutionary Party at the beginning, but this divergence was finally solved that Young Youth League had accepted to be led by the party, and Tumurbagan would work as the Secretary General of the Youth League. So we can know that the Youth League, Inner Mongolian Youth League, was not working as an independent political party from the beginning of its establishment. Instead of being led by the party, which can be viewed as a classic party league structure, like most of the Communist Party, which made it much more different from IMYRP in formalization. And the guiding principle of IMYL is they declare an important announcement called founding announcement of Inner Mongolian People's Revolutionary Youth League, and they declared that the Youth League will be the pioneer of all young Inner Mongolians fighting for liberation, independence, and unity of all Mongolian, and follow the guidance of Marxism, Leninism to make socialism come true, and not by capitalism. In addition, it was decided that the League members had to recruit new members through going to the East Mongolian banners. So we can see this differences, like the MYRP, it's a non-communist party, and the Inner Mongolian Youth League is a communism league, and the MYRP is an independent party, and MYL is a party league structure. So the similarity in Mongolian national movements. The combination of Inner and Outer Mongolian played a big role in Mongolian national movement after 1945, as parties and local political powers like Ulumbet Autonomous Government, Eastern Mongolia Autonomous Government, and the Provisional Government of People's Republic of Inner Mongolia had all tried to contact with People's Republic of Mongolia and showed their wishes to become the part of all Mongolian. Combination of Inner and Outer Mongolian is a positive exploration of Inner Mongolian in searching of self-independence and liberty. Even though it was failed in the end, both of MRP and the Inner Mongolian Youth League had been active in the process of combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia. So the MIRP trial of combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia is when the Soviet Union declared war on Japan in 1945, MIRP immediately decided to send the Lurchak to connect it with United Army of Soviet and Mongolia and request some supports from them. After United Army marched into Sunit White Banner, their commander showed support to MIRP. Thus, the MIRP declared it to be into the public at Toktoksum. And the MIRP also made the request of a combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia for United Armies, but commanders of United Armies refused to give specific answers to such a big problem and suggested them to send representatives to Ulaanbaatar or Moscow to connect directly with the government. So Landulgurchok representing MIRP and Dogorsurung representing the Provisional People's Community and Sawindamba representing religious went to Ulaanbaatar around 25 August 1945, but still didn't receive any response for their request. So moreover, Lamujab, the third vice premier of Mongolian People's Republic, came to Sunit White Banner and said Inner and Outer Mongolia wouldn't have a chance to combine together because of the international treaty, and Inner Mongolia's issues belong to China internal affairs, and People's Republic of Mongolia wouldn't support any combining activities. So MIRP's trial of a combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia failed in the end. This is Dogorsurung. And the Inner Mongolian Youth League's trial of a combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia. At almost the same time, IMYL, which has already under the lead of Eastern branch of Inner Mongolia's People's Republic Party, actively took part in the process of combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia as well. Their activities can be originated from its founding conference, where they propagating and collected signatures for a combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia. On October 20, 1945, 10 people like Boyin Mantuk Hafunga, Nachin Shonkur, Urdun Tokhtuk, Lashin Biluk made up an Eastern Mongolian delegation and went to Ulaanbaatar with their signatures book and the wish of a combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia. However, People's Republic of Mongolia still refused to combining request, as the chairperson pointed out that Inner Mongolia's affair was China internal affairs, and it had to be resolved by the help of Chinese Communist Party. And still, Inner Mongolia's the Youth League's trial of a combination is failed in the end. So the national movement turned to another direction. So my conclusion is the youth movement was basically raised and promoted by the Young Youth Party and the Inner Mongolian Youth League. There was many differences in their creed, form of organization, and guiding principle, which made them only work on their own, so that they had no chance to gather their powers together in national movement. At the same time, geography may also be considered as another reason of their working separately. But they did the same trial of a combination of Inner and Outer Mongolia when international situation changed sharply, and those differences are also important to understand the geopolitics difference between Central and East Inner Mongolia. Thank you.
Very interesting paper. Yes, in the back.
Thank you. One quick question. As far as other differences, as how these parties are representing themselves, anything else, I gotta get my name straight here. The Mongolian Youth Revolutionary Party, was there more of appeals to tradition, traditional culture, traditional clothing, anything like that, as opposed to the more stable communist one?
It's in tradition, yeah, the Mongolian Youth Party. It's more, they're more near to the cultural, and because of the Eastern Mongolia, it's been Marxism and Leninism covered for a long time, so I think the cultural thing will be less than the central part.
Any other questions? Yes.
Particularly on the western part of the Mongols, you mentioned Pompuchab, right?
Yes.
One of the early leaders is the same Pompuchab?
Yes.
Professor, that same person, or?
It's not
clarify?
I think it's not about.
So
Finding Pompuchab leader?
I tend to think it probably was. I mean, I believe it was, is my understanding. I don't know. Did you find later about his information about him, from Taibas Banner?
No, it's not working on that people.
Right. I mean, there's some very, very famous names here.
Yeah, but this.
One they call Dugulai, is that the same person, or?
No.
I don't think Dugulai, I don't think is the same.
What's Mongolian name for Dugulai, do you know?
You'd asked me 10 years ago, I think. Do you know Dugulai?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's not the same person, I think.
Any other questions? Other questions? Yes.
I know you mentioned how the both parties were talking to the Ulaanbaatar Mongolia.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that, they said they have to be considered under the Chinese Communist Party or whatever. And then was there any discussion more than that, just in terms of, negotiations back and forth, or it's just kind of cutthroat, that's it, this is it, or is there more to the story?
They both sent a delegation to Ulaanbaatar at just one time, and list a little more details that when they go to the Ulaanbaatar and they try to set their wishes to the PPM, PRM government, but still it's refused every time. So I think it's strictly refused.
All right. I think if we then we can. Any more questions? All right. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful paper. Our next paper is by Anran Wang. He's been here before, so many of you may be familiar with him. He's currently working on a dissertation on nationality policy and language policy in particular. And today he'll be talking about from self-determination to party determination, the Chinese Communist Party approach to Eastern Inner Mongolia, 1945 to 1949. So we'll see a number of similar names appearing between the two papers. He's a doctoral student at Cornell University.